Your headline stories. Health Minister describes the workers' strike at the Charlotte Maxeke Hospital as sheer hooliganism as patients are neglected and property damaged. As former President Jacob Zuma is officially welcomed back to Nkandla, he says he's not corrupt and not bothered by those who call him a thief. This is eNews at 8. Good evening. I'm Gareth Edwards. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has described the protest at the Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital as inhumane and says arrests must be made. Support staff went on a wildcat strike demanding higher wages and bonuses that they claim are owed to them. They've threatened to bring services at the hospital to a standstill if government ignores them. Nicholas Bauer has the story.
We are here just because we are forced by the employer to be here.
An unprotected strike that could have turned deadly. Several hundred support staff protested at the Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital over performance bonuses left unpaid since December 2017.
We are aiming to end the protest today, but we have to wait and look at what is in the agreement. There is a commitment where we have received calls, and an agent multilateral will be sitting tomorrow morning to give us an agreement which will have the amount, which will have the date in which the payment will be made.
Critical health services were disrupted, with only 19 of the scheduled 50 operations taking place at the hospital.
They're damaging everything and kicking everyone out is because they want all the medical staff, all the cleaners, everyone that's working here in the hospital to participate. So some of us, we try to actually help with the patients instead of participating in the protest, and that's what's making them really, really angry about it.
Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi was livid, calling for swift action to be taken against workers who disrupted health activities.
And let me make it very clear. I will get very scared, very, very scared as a minister. If I could find a person working here as a cleaner or a general worker or whatever, who has got the audacity to get into theater and stop people from performing operation, that person is a murderer. And how we can't have a murderer in our midst.
The Gauteng Health Department has promised to get the hospital back at full operating capacity, and that steps will be taken to ensure no further disruptions. Nicholas Bauer, Johannesburg.
Former President Jacob Zuma is dismissing reports linking him to the new political party that's being formed in KwaZulu-Natal. Speaking in his rural village of Nkandla during his homecoming prayer, Zuma says he remained a loyal member of the ANC. It's the first time he has publicly commented on the reports since his recall as president. Sepamandla Goge was in Nkandla and filed this report.
After months of delays in welcoming their fallen hero, Nkandla residents finally got their chance to thank and welcome back the former president in prayer. Initially planned to take place immediately after his recall, their welcome was postponed several times. Religious leaders stepped in, resulting in today's event. Speculation is rife as the former president intends ditching the governing party and find himself a new political home. Facing legal woes, Zuma says he is not corrupt and not bothered by those who call him a thief. As the State Capture Commission of Inquiry prepares to kick off, the former president says it's not true that the state has been captured. He argues that not all three pillars of the state are under capture.
Uma-ke utshena izwe uthe South Africa kukhona lento okuthiwa i-state capture, kusho ukuthi uthi lezi insika zontathu zithinjiwe. Uyayizwa lento engisho. Kodwa akekho seke washo wathi zithinjiwe zontathu. Kusho ukuthi leli igama lisetshenziselwe ukungcolisa nje isithunzi sabanye abantu.
The former president is due back in court again next week Friday. He's facing fraud, corruption, money laundering and racketeering charges. Sepamandla Goge, Nkandla.
IFP Ndomeni Municipality Mayor Spunisi Mbata will spend another night behind bars. He and fellow councillor Mtambeni Majolo's bail application in the Est Court Magistrates Court has been postponed to tomorrow. Samkela Maseko reports.
Political violence seems to be synonymous with the province of KwaZulu-Natal. In the early 1990s, it was a warfare between the ANC and the IFP. After the 2016 local government elections, it seems an intra-party warfare in the Inkatha Freedom Party. Ndoni local municipality mayor Spunisi Mbata and councillor Mthombeni Majola of Inkosilanga Libalele municipality are behind bars for allegedly plotting to kill Bongiwe Mbata Makhathini. Majola says this is an intra-party warfare in the Inkatha Freedom Party.
The mayor of Ndomeni was deployed by the party in 2016, and the complainant in this case, which happens to be the speaker of Ndomeni Council, she was the mayor from 2007 up until 2011. Then the ANC took over from 2011 to 2016. The speaker of Ndomeni was hoping that the party will deploy her again to the position of being the mayor, of which the party decided otherwise and put the mayor, the youngest mayor, he was 28 years by that time.
Majola also says this is not surprising, as the Inkatha Freedom Party will be going to regional conferences and national conference. The three accused will spend another night behind bars as their bail application was not finalized but has been rolled over to Friday at 11 o'clock. Samkela Maseko, Escort, KwaZulu-Natal.
Police Minister Bheki Cele says he'll need 2 weeks to respond to a memorandum from the Chatsworth community. They're outraged about the death of 9-year-old Sadia Sukraj. She was shot during a botched hijacking on Monday. The community met with Cele today. He has promised to return to the community with results. Dasan Tathia has that story.
After a week of tragedy and unrest, Police Minister Bheki Cele has visited the Chatsworth community. They've now given him 14 days to respond to their concerns. On Monday, little Sadia Sukraj was killed during a hijacking. That incident sparked an outcry from the community over the state of policing and the high levels of crime in the area. Cele now says the outstanding suspect in that murder case has only 72 hours left before he's arrested. Are you going to commit to a deadline on this arrest?
Well, I have been given the time of finding the outstanding guy. The hours that we are working on around these days is 72 hours.
In a bid to gain the trust of the community, Cele handed out his cell phone number and urged provincial police bosses to do the same. While the community welcomed his interventions, they also had some burning issues to discuss.
When I was growing up, if you saw a police vehicle, you shivered in your pants. Today, when we see a police van, we laugh in their face.
Apart from fixing operational issues, Cele also wants to address the issue of the disconnect between police and the community. This is largely attributed to the response by police during a protest on Monday night. The police minister says he will return to this community in the coming weeks to engage further. Dasan Tathia in Chatsworth, Durban.
Well, the Democratic Alliance has reduced Cape Town Mayor Patricia de Lille's role to a ceremonial one. This comes as the spat between the former allies is continuing. The decision was taken during the council meeting earlier today. It was tabled by Deputy Mayor Ian Nielsen in hopes of ensuring effective service delivery. The councillors passed the motion designating all legislative authority away from the mayor with 137 votes to 50. 2 councillors abstained, while the ANC and EFF rejected that proposal. De Lille will still be able to appoint a mayoral committee. She is planning to fight the demotion. The South African Broadcasting Corporation, or SABC, is set to establish commissions of inquiry into editorial interference and sexual harassment. The inquiry was prompted by complaints within the organisation, as well as claims of sex for employment. The broadcaster says these inquiries are part of transformation plans to turn the SABC into an accountable entity.
Commission of Inquiry, what we really want to do is to restore and make sure that the credibility of the SABC newsroom is not in question, and also to future-proof ourselves to make sure that whether we are here or not, we create a system that can stand the test of time. And I think with the sexual harassment, we're just creating, first of all, it's an awareness and also a healing for those people that have experienced such. But it's also an opportunity to say that this is not something that the SABC stands for, because we need to speak out against it, and this is what we're hoping to achieve.
And coming up after the break.
The Constitutional Court has heard arguments on the singing of Umama Uyajabula and other struggle songs. I'm Erin Bates with details on that hearing coming up.
Welcome back. A company that dismissed workers for singing struggle songs during an unprotected strike wants the Constitutional Court to rule that they are grounds for dismissal. In 2013, 9 workers were fired for singing Umama Uyajabula. Duncan Mack managers say they were offended by that song. Reporter Erin Bates has more.
A workers' strike about overtime has amplified a debate over struggle songs.
Izokwela phezu kwendlu kaLinda umama uyajabula mandishaya ibhulu.
In 2013, managers at Duncan Mack felt disrespected after striking workers sang the song Umama Uyajabula. Today, the song's lyrics are the subject of critique by the highest court in the country.
To express their dissatisfaction to their employer about their dispute, they sing a song that says, and let's crystallize it to its simplest form as I understand it, and I understand my understanding may be wrong, but hit the boer.
I thought the song says, my mother rejoices when we hit the boer, or the boers.
Yes.
It was not like an instructions that hit the boer.
I accept that.
Germiston company Duncan Mack argues the term boer in Umama Uyajabula refers generally to white people, and in the context used was a racial slur. Duncan Mack's decision to fire the 9 workers was found wanting during arbitration. The company's disciplinary code did not indicate singing that song was an offence, yet it dismissed workers for doing so. The arbitrator said the dismissal was unfair. The Deputy Chief Justice suggests the parties should have a dialogue.
We have a history in South Africa. Races have been divided. They continue to be divided. They are divided in the workplace as well.
The Constitutional Court has reserved judgment. Erin Bates, Johannesburg.
Eric Mutlake, CEO of EML Energy, says there was never a 2.4 billion rand contract between his company and SA Express. Recent reports allege that the airline was paying EML Energy 67 million rand a month to supply it with jet fuel. But the only contract between the companies is an as and when required deal, which doesn't have a value to it, but rather proposed rates. EML, which has contracts with other airlines, has been supplying fuel and defueling services, as well as diesel and 95 octanes since July last year. SA Express says it's investigating the contract and has also tightened its procurement processes.
Contract for 2.4 billion, nor do we get any 67 million rands from SAX. What we have offered to SAX was just our profile, basically of what we are capable of giving to them, including the 67 million rands worth of fuel, which is just what is available to all the clients that we have, be it on the campus, on the flight line, or at the other airports that we would operate in.
Here's a reminder of your main stories this evening. The Health Minister describes the workers' strike at Charlotte Maxeke Hospital as sheer hooliganism, as patients are neglected and property also damaged. As former President Jacob Zuma is officially welcomed back to Nkandla, he says he's not corrupt and not bothered by those who call him a thief.
Welcome to the Weather Center. On Thursday, we had this band of cloud giving us thundershows across eastern South Africa, where it's going to stay fairly unsettled for much of the night. And over the western areas, we had a lot of cloud giving us showers over the southwestern areas ahead of this cold front, which is set to hit our shores after midnight tonight. Now, we will stay with a very isolated showers this evening for the eastern areas of KwaZulu-Natal. It will be mostly fine for the rest of the country, but this cold front will introduce heavy rains after midnight across the southwestern areas of the Western Cape. The heavy rain continues into Friday morning. Then for the rest of the first half of Friday, showery and chilly weather is forecast for much of the Western Cape, the western areas of the northern and eastern Cape provinces. Then later on in the afternoon, it will be cloudy, cold and windy for the western areas. Mostly sunny skies are forecast over eastern South Africa. Now in the northern Cape, we are going to see cloudy, rainy and cold conditions for the western areas, where Sutherland will peak at just 18 degrees. It will be mostly sunny and mild for the rest of the province, but very cold in the morning. The Western Cape should see cloudy, rainy and chilly weather on Friday. Top temperatures here lying mostly in the mid-teens on Friday afternoon. We could see a bit of rain around Port Elizabeth, warming to 18 degrees in the afternoon. Mostly sunny skies are forecast for the eastern parts of the Eastern Cape. Clear skies for the KwaZulu-Natal province, where it's going to be warm in most areas. We are going to see mostly clear skies as well for the Mpumalanga province, mild for the Highveld, but hot for Mbombela and Skukuza. Sunny and warm to hot weather is forecast across Limpopo, Polokwane, reaching a high of 28 degrees on Friday afternoon. We are going to see a bit of cloud over parts of the northwest, where top temperatures in the lower to mid-20s are expected. Another chilly start to the day is forecast for the Free State, where mild to warm afternoon temperatures are expected for your Friday. We are going to see a bit of cloud over the Gauteng province, Pretoria, warming to 24 degrees in the afternoon. Cloud and rainy weather continues on Saturday around Cape Town. Isolated showers for KwaZulu-Natal. It will be mostly sunny for the rest of the country. Then on Sunday, wet weather can be expected for the south and the east coast.
And finally, a South African climber is getting ready for a massive challenge. Sibusiso Villani has just returned from Mount Everest, and now he's decided he wants to take part in the Comrades Marathon. Reporter Michael Murlia was at the airport when Villani touched down.
A hero's welcome for one of South Africa's favourite sons. Sibusiso Villani has already climbed Everest twice. This time, he decided to push the limits, climbing without any extra oxygen. Villani turned back after reaching an altitude of 8,000 meters. It wasn't the summit, but he says he's pleased with his performance.
If I would have summited without oxygen, I would have been very happy. But this was just to gauge my own natural ability without, and getting to 8,000 meters on Everest without oxygen for me is quite amazing.
Nicole Kappa joined Villani for part of the trek. She was rushed to hospital after struggling with altitude sickness.
Today we welcome home an absolute South African hero, and I'm just honoured we got to spend 2 weeks with him. What a gift. And now we get to see him again for the first time since we left him at base camp. So he's a real hero and we just admire what he's done.
This is the amount of luggage you need for 6 weeks on Mount Everest. Villani will now have to unpack all of these bags and get ready to run the Comrades Marathon. Villani hasn't trained specifically for the Comrades, but says he'll rely on his mental strength. Villani will join thousands of runners on the 10th of June, but he's not trying to beat anyone. He just wants to be a better version of himself. Michael Murlia, Johannesburg.
And good luck to him. Now, a reminder of our headline stories this evening. The Health Minister describes the workers' strike at Charlotte Maxeke Hospital as sheer hooliganism as patients are neglected and property damaged. As former President Jacob Zuma is officially welcomed back to Nkandla, he says he's not corrupt and not bothered by those who call him a thief. That's a wrap from the eNews team. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.